He had a fantastic game against Leicester last week. A bit of extra offensive firepower with Cosby alongside him, perhaps. Let's take a look now at the starting lineups for the two teams, starting with the Wolves. Walker will provide the beef inside. Klassen leads the league in assists, and Setti and Huffer both capable three-point shooters. Kennedy, some silky moves down in the low post. That's the Worcester Wolves starting five, and we'll have a look at the Bristol Flyers opening lineup here. They're going to bring Cosby off the bench, go with their normal lineup. Vigor inside is going to have that big battle with Walker, and Street and Ali at the back with the Dozy and Boggs as the forward. Rob Paternostro, you played this Bristol team last week. They had you in a hole with about 7 or 8 minutes to go. You were down 9. You've seen the quality they have. It's amazing they're at the bottom of the table, really.
It certainly is. They didn't look like a one-win team, and we've played them 3 times and been impressed, especially on the defensive end. Solid defensive team, switch a lot, so a lot of their players are versatile, strong team, but, you know, they have to find a way to score the basketball. Last in the league in scoring. That's why Cosby's here. It'll be interesting to see how many minutes he gets tonight.
Well, it also must be said that Bristol have had a pretty brutal start to the season. They played Leicester 3 times, they played Newcastle twice. As the ball goes up, not cleanly, I think we'll try that jump ball again. And it's Dozy against Walker, and, well, neither of them quite time it, but the referees let that one go this time. And we are underway with Marek Klassen of the Worcester Wolves. Walker. Huffer. Here's Kennedy on the far side, backing down against Boggs. Shot clock getting low, long extension. I said he's silky in the low post.
Nice move from Kennedy. He's versatile. He shot the ball well from the perimeter this year, but certainly can finish around the basket.
Here's Boggs. Vigor up top, over to the long-time Bristol Flyers player Street, but Vigor can't convert inside. Ali with a little running shot, didn't quite go, trying to pull down his own rebound, but eventually Setti comes up with it. Ali gets hands on the ball there, and at the second attempt, I think because he knocked it loose the first time, he thought he might be able to steal it away from Huffer. Referee called him for the first foul of the game.
He's a guy that certainly can steal the ball. 3rd in the league in steals, 2.33 steals a game. You have to take care of the ball when Ali's around.
It's Kennedy on to Setti. They've gone for a Dozy, who's probably got a bit more strength, trying to guard Walker with the turnaround first. So if those shots are going in, it's going to be tough to guard this guy.
Well, at 6'10", whenever you fade away like that, you can't block it. So if he makes that, you have to just hold your hands up and say, hey, nice move.
Ali moves it on, driving along the baseline. Box out to a Dozy with the jump shot. It's probably not his strength, and it's overcooked. Kick forward pass is deflected, and a Dozy makes amends by coming up with the loose ball. Dozy, oh, he wasn't quite cutting to basket. He's out of bounds there. I think the pass was a good idea. He just wasn't ready for it.
Sloppy so far, Bristol on the offensive end. First possession, drew up a nice play, but just blew the layup, and then Dozy with the air ball, and then the turnover. So not a great start on the offensive end for Bristol.
Well, as you pointed out, Bristol, lowest scoring team in the league, but Worcester, one of the most poorest defensively, only 3rd in the league in terms of the amount of points they give up. Kennedy's shot doesn't go. Boggs with the rebound. Can Bristol get themselves on the board here? 2 minutes have gone, they've yet to score. Vigor out behind the three-point line with the head fake, goes to the spin move, through the contact, off the back of the ring. Ball is loose, and Walker will chase it down. Klassen round the high pick and roll, keeps going. I think he was expecting Walker to go to the basket. As it was, he went out to the three-point line. Klassen will fire up for 3, doesn't go. And they did a good job defensively on the boards there, Bristol. Here they come the other way with Street. Street loses the handle slightly, and they have to reset. They had numbers there and didn't take advantage of it. Street fires up for 3. Good challenge by Setti, and I think that's why the shot was a bit long. Huffer. Ooh. He manages to recover. 3 minutes gone, just 4 points on the board so far. Klassen drives in. He had the foot speed mismatch, but can't finish. Here's Boggs out on the break against Setti. Boggs drives in. Setti does a great job to make it difficult. Ali from the elbow, and finally it's taken over 3 minutes are on the board.
Wow, that was painful for Bristol for a while. Had good looks, but still fighting and gets it to go.
Well, there's movement on the bench on the far side for Bristol, but it's Leslie Smith who's going to come in, so we will have to wait a little longer before we see Aaron Cosby make his first steps in the BBL. Walker with the spin, drives hard to the hole, a little too much on that. Hoffer with the offensive rebound. He's trapped in the paint, gets it out. Walker trying to find a way around. He does have great hands like that.
Nice move from Walker. I like the drive to the basket at first for the big guy. Hoffer kept it alive though, and Walker finished for 2.
Ali backs out, calls for the high screen, drives in, throws it up high. They haven't really had any clean looks, Bristol.
Good defense from Setti there, made him take a tough shot.
Here's Walker. Boggs now in front of him. Hoffer with the quick release off the pass. Great finish.
Oh, I like what Walker's done scoring so far, but I've also liked the way he's passed the ball. Threw a cross-court pass a couple possessions ago. That time, the cutting Hoffer finds him for 2.
Dozy moves it on to Vigor. Up top is Street. Street trying to find a way down the lane, draws the foul, and that's one way to deal with the big fella. Try and attack him, get him in foul trouble.
Yeah, good move there from Street. He can attack the basket. Bad foul from Walker there. You got to stand tall. You don't want your big guy to pick up a foul that low. Stand tall, make it tough to score.
Well, Leslie Smith will check into the game for the first time. Daniel Dozy will sit down, and there's 2 free throws here for Greg Street.
74% free throw shooter. Street
knocks down the first one.
8 points per game. Started some games, come off the bench some games.
And makes them both from the free throw line to cut the gap to 4. Just 12 points on the board in the first 4.5 minutes. Here's Hoffer. Now they go down again to Walker, and you can see the little help there from Street. Now he's on his own, Smith. Street comes to help out and forces him to throw the ball out of bounds.
Nice job from Street to help. And Smith into the game. Played at Nebraska. Walker played at Minnesota, both in the Big Ten. So I'm sure they faced each other before in college.
Midway through the opening quarter, Street drives down the lane, goes quick. I think Setti got a piece of that from behind. Klassen with a little stop and go, pulls up from 15 feet, nice shot.
Nice move there from Klassen. Struggled to shoot the ball so far early in the year. Great assist man, leads the league in assists. But maybe with the presence of Walker inside will open some things up for Klassen on the perimeter.
Vigor gives it back to Street. They've clearly told Street to attack the basket. Walker's going to get whistled for his second personal foul here after only 5.5 minutes. That's big. And speaking of big, here comes the new signing into the game.
Well, Walker, that's why you talk about the last foul, the reach-in foul, because that one was a tough one on him. Looked like he had the hands up, but sometimes big guys don't get the benefit of the whistle, and now he has to go to the bench. But yes, Cosby into the game. Louisville, Kentucky native. Played at Western Kentucky last year. Good college career. Certainly can shoot the three-point shot. Gets to the foul line. Be interesting to see what kind of legs he has. He's only arriving in the country earlier in the week.
Well, Coach Kapoulis was saying he hasn't had much time to practice with the team, as you say. When he first got in the country, he got to adjust to the time difference and the jet lag and all of that. But sometimes when you lace them up, you can just go on adrenaline in that first game, can't you? Here's Klassen to Kennedy. Smith had a little hand on that. Hoffer. Goes around the pick and roll, steps back for a tough three, Danny Huffer.
Well, he can be streaky at times, Huffer, but when he has it going, he's tough to stop. Bristol switched the pick and roll, and Huffer took advantage of that and put it in the face of Mike Vigor.
Yeah, Mike Vigor leaping out at him. Quick three at the other end, doesn't go from box. Huffer getting the defensive rebound. Chance for Worcester to open a double-figure lead here. Klassen drives along baseline, zips it out. Navas for three, back-to-back triples for the Wolves, and the lead is out to 11, and Coach Kapoulas forced to call a timeout.
A great play from Klassen there. We talked about leading the league in assists, and that time he drove and found Navas. Here you see he drives, nice pass, look away, and Navas with the old school set shot from three. Comes into the game, good start from the Wolves on the offensive end.
Well, if you're Coach Kapoulas in this timeout, I mean, coming into the game, we've all talked about their offensive production, how they need to get more points on the board. 5 points in only 6 minutes is not getting it done. What's he got to do to change it up here?
Well, I think they've had decent looks. They've had a couple around the basket they haven't finished, but keep attacking. They got to keep attacking the basket, especially with Walker out of the game. The Wolves become pretty small when Walker leaves the floor. So, you know, you would think that the lane should open up to get some better opportunities around the basket. But stay positive. Early in the game, long way to go. Maybe look to try to run something for the new guy, Cosby, to get him started.
Well, they certainly need something to get their offensive going, and be wondering to see if Cosby can beat that spot. But Ali last week, I mean, he hit some amazing shots against you guys. I mean, you were throwing all sorts of bodies at him, and he was still knocking down those shots. He hasn't quite found that touch yet here in the early stages.
Well, interesting, they took Ali out when they brought Cosby into the game. It looks like Street will handle the point while Ali's out. But yeah, looking for something for Cosby to get him involved in a game as the Wolves pick up full court.
Come with a little zone press, which is slightly discombobulated Bristol, but they do get it over the halfway line. Now they can run at the basket, and he slightly out of control loses the ball. Huffer going the other way, has help with him, lobs it up. I don't know if it was a pass or a shot, but either way they get 2 points out of it.
Nice tip in there by Navas. A three from the corner and a tip in for him as he enters the game.
Straight into Smith. Well, there's a pretty obvious foul. The referees won't get a much easier one than that to call.
Nice little play there by Bristol. Good dive to the basket by Smith. Nice pass. And now Smith, who's a good foul shooter for Bristol, 82%, will go to the line for two.
Most of their points have come from this distance so far. That is their 4th free throw of the game. They are 1 for 11 in open play shooting. And if your shooting percentage is in the single digits, you're going to struggle. So you've got to make sure these free throws go in. That one doesn't. Navas, I guess, saved a point there with the obvious foul, because it was going to be an easy layup for Smith. 18 points to 6 in favor of the Wolves, who've got off to a great start. Klassen backs out. He's got the bigger Vigor. He's got the foot speed, but Vigor did a good job there to make that difficult shot.
Nice defense there from Vigor. Tough to shoot over the top of him. Klassen couldn't get it to go. We talked about Klassen struggles earlier in the season from three-point range, field goal percentage. Hasn't really been able to get it going. Had an excellent season last year with Leeds. Still delivering the assists, but certainly struggling. 35% from the two-point range and 30% from the three coming in.
Vigor inside, traveled with it, and actually they did a good job, because you could see they were trying to force it. Setti did a good job from behind to make it difficult, and then the help defense came down. All he could do was walk with it. Good
defense so far from Worcester. We talked about that at the top of the telecast, that they were a team that was struggling on the defensive end, but so far locked in.
Setti, oh! That's what Trevor Setti does. Tough shots, he loves to knock those down.
Certainly can get going. They have a couple of guys on the team that can get going from beyond the three-point arc. Setti, definitely one of them.
Here's Cosby. Smith trying to back down, and Cosby didn't quite have the legs on that three-point shot. Kahn bringing it forward. Setti again goes up for back-to-back! Triples from Trevor Setti.
And he does a little dance as he goes up the court. Always interacting with the crowd. Setti, who's played good defense as he draws the foul there, but also hitting the three-point shot.
Well, Setti really trying to pump the crowd up here, and no better way than shots like this, knocking down the three. And he's one of those guys, when the first one goes in, you need to guard him anywhere because it can go up from any distance. Once the first one goes in, he's such a great streak shooter that he can knock a few down.
He's attempting 5 threes per game, shooting 35%, 12 points per game as well for Setti.
Well, I was here for a game a few years ago where he hit some big threes late on when he was at Plymouth, and he passes to Navahas and walks down the court. The threes are flying in all over the place for Worcester.
Wow, 27-6. Bristol in a whole lot of trouble to start this game.
Smith trying to get some points on the board, trying to stop the bleeding, as 5 from 7 from behind the three-point line by Worcester has given them a massive lead here. Setti's going to fire another one, you know it! Not this time. Cosby is bumped by Backman, that'll be a foul. And what Bristol need to do here really is just weather this storm for a minute. When all these shots are going in, you just got to try and find some way of getting baskets at the other end.
Yeah, it's been tough for them on the defensive end because of the bad offense. A lot of times your best defense could be good offense, and with all the misses, Worcester's getting out, opening up the floor, getting good looks.
Ali around the high screen, pulls up, oh, and he got, oh, what a shot, count the basket. He got hit from in front and behind, and somehow managed to knock that shot down too. I was saying he hit some tough ones against you, none tougher than that.
Well, been around this league a long time, and I can't remember a guy that makes more tough pull-up jump shots than Hamid Ali. You know, the first time he did it against us, you say, hey, that's, you know, we're happy with him taking that shot, but that is his shot, that pull-up shot, 15 to 20 feet away. He's made them routinely this year.
Can't convert the three-point play. Setti pulls down the rebound and kicks it out to Kennedy. Hands over to Backman and gets it back again. Driving along the baseline. And Dozy covered well there. Another three from Setti. He's short. Cosby. Smith fakes the three, puts the ball on the floor, goes to the hole, and Setti got a block on it, but the referee said it was illegal, caught him on the arm, and he'll go to the line for 2.
One thing about Bristol so far is they are drawing the fouls. The fouls are adding up. 6th foul so far on the Wolves.
I suppose the one upside for Coach Paul James is that they've been spread through, apart from the 2 on Walker, the other 4 have been spread through the team.
It's always nice when you're struggling offensively to get those free points from the foul line with the clock stopped. And Bristol needs to finish this quarter off well. Get some positive momentum going into the second quarter.
Well, still most of Bristol's points coming from the free throw line. Navas is going to try another one.
Oh! Wide open there. I think a couple of them, I think Cosby thought that they weren't switching, but the big thought they weren't, and bam! Navas makes it pay.
He's 3 of 3 from behind the arc, the big fella. Skip pass out to Smith from behind the line. That doesn't go. Chased down by Kahn. They've got the shot clock switched off. They can slow this down and take the final shot. Kennedy hands it back to Kahn. 5 now on the clock as he tries to find some space. And Navas again. No. A bit much to expect him to hit one off balance on the buzzer, but what a great contribution he's had. And also, Setti, the three-point shooting has been really impressive from Worcester in this opening quarter.
No question about it. Put 30 points up on the board, and yeah, the threes are going in. That has been a problem percentage-wise for them this year. Only a 32% three-point shooting team, but shoot the ball like they're doing tonight, that'll climb rather quickly.
Well, they've been almost double that 33%. Let's take a look back at really this domination here of the first quarter by Worcester, and we saw Hoffa going to the basket there, but then the threes started raining in, and this was the thing. Once the first one goes in, they got a buzz across the team, didn't they?
Yeah, no doubt about it. You see Navajas comes in the game, hits the three. You know, defensively, Worcester's done a good job. They've gotten out into open spaces and been able to capitalize on it. And when you can't put the ball in the hoop, it puts so much pressure on your defense. And right now, Worcester, wherever they go, looks to be effective.
Well, I suppose if you're Coach Kapoulis, you're going to say these can't keep going in all game. We just need to hang on in there. They've shot 50–60% from the three-point line. At some point they'll cool down, and we just need to try and chip away at this 18-point hole.
Well, I think they have to get everybody on the same page defensively. 3 or 4 times tonight, it's looked like one guy thought they were switching the ball screen and one guy didn't. So they really need to address that right now, what they're doing, because a lot of those open threes were because the defense made that mistake. So hopefully in the timeout for them, they can get that straightened out and play a little bit better defense, because if you give up 30 in a quarter, it's going to be a long night.
Well, Coach Paul James going for win number 500 in the BBL. Fab Flanoy, the only other man to get to that landmark. He got there a couple of weeks ago. PJ trying to get win number 500 on the board. That, I mean, even for you, Rob, with 250, that's a massive number of wins.
Massive number of wins. A lot of great teams, a lot of great players along the way. Coach James done a great job in this league for a long time.
Well, he's been involved in British basketball since the early 80s. Made his debut in 1981, I think it was, in Division 2 as it used to be, and then got into the top flight the following year, and he's been involved pretty much every season since as a player and then as a coach. Testament to him. He's probably got another 500 wins as a player as well, as the shot doesn't go, and Owen pulls in the rebound. Navas trying to make himself a nuisance. That'll be a tie-up, and Worcester will get the possession on the arrow. And
speaking of Coach James, before the game, we talked about all his great teams that he has had. He spoke about the Worcester Wolves here, that team that won the double a few years back. He spoke about the Guilford team that he had. But I thought it was interesting that a guy that's coming up on 500 wins is still playing at times in practice. He told me he's still lacing them up. He looks like he's in good condition, and he has to show them a thing or two on the court every now and again.
Well, he was a tremendous point guard back in his day, and I'm sure he still plays pretty hard now as his team open up a lead of 20 points here. Bristol rocking in the early stages. A three, they needed that from Greg Street.
Coach Kapoulis, after that three went in, pumped his fist, yelled to his team, let's play some defense. Because, yeah, they got to put it in the hoop, no doubt, but they got to find a way to stop this hot shooting Worcester team.
Well, the referee just having a word with Mike Vigor and Navajas, because I think they just bumped each other after the play, and the referee just wanted to calm them down, and the break in play allows the floor to be wiped. There is one other game going on, an important game as well. First leg of the Cup semi-final, and it's Surrey who lead Glasgow by 37 points to 36. They're a little ahead of us. They're about 5 minutes ahead of us. There's 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. We'll keep you in touch with that score. It's a two-legged affair, though, so it won't be decided tonight. Nice drive to the basket for two.
Khan with a nice move. They ran the horn set, and he split the middle. You usually don't see that. Gets right to the basket with that quick first step.
Ali ran the screen, trying to find some space. Out to Vigor for three, off the mark. Easy rebound for Backman. Calm ran the screen. Fakes the shot. Vigor dives out at him. Walker down low. Backman, gamble, and he lost the ball in the end. Ali knocks it down. Ball bobbles everywhere. They've still got it, but there's no reset of the shot clock. It needs to go up quick here. It's down to two. He's got to fire it. Hoffa, he does fire it. Hits the ring, so the ball is live. Here's is Ali. Ali drives, dumps it a little bit behind Vigor, has a tough time pulling it in. Khan is pushing and Owen fouls. And it was one of those smart fouls where he managed to get the referee to call it, but even though it's the last man back, it's not an unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, good foul to stop the break. Khan's gonna have to come out of the game, telling the referee he had something wrong with his finger. But Khan with a couple good drives to the basket. And you have to know the scouting report with Khan. He's 1 for 16 from the three-point line. I have to play off him and not let him get to the basket. He's got to the basket twice against Bristol.
I don't know if he had a little cut on his finger. He's getting some treatment on the bench now. Here's Hoffa. Navas thought about another three, moves it on to Klassen. Backman. Hoffa fires it up. Too long on that one. Rebound streak, kicks it out. That might not reach Vigor. And I think, referee gives Bristol the ball. That was a tight one.
Excellent ball movement on the other end by the Wolves. Right now, they're in a great rhythm offensively. Although they missed the shot, it was an excellent possession. Everybody touching the ball, everybody feeling comfortable out on the floor.
Two and a half minutes gone here in the second quarter. Worcester blasting out of the blocks, lead this one by 19. Here's Street from behind the arc, doesn't go. Boggs chasing it, Walker pulls it in. Klassen. Zips it across to Hoffa. Backman gets his man up in the air. Klassen just lost it for a second, got it back, drives in. Ooh, did he pass that to himself? It looked illegal. Referees let it play. Walker has to shoot as the shot clock is getting low. Kennedy with the offensive rebound. Hoffa now from behind the arc. Long rebound comes back to Kennedy once again, and he scoops one in.
And Kennedy, an energy type player, all over the floor, leads the BBL in minutes per game as well.
There's another look at him. He just watch the way he finished. First of all, he gets the rebound, then his long arms reaches out to scoop that one in. There's Walker going to the basket for two, and he shows the muscles there as Coach Kapoulis asks the table for a timeout. His team in all sorts of trouble here.
Yeah, you know, you're hoping for a close game here, and got to get that back in the game. He needs that timeout. Like to see him maybe go to Cosby a little bit here and see what he has. I know he's just arrived, but they certainly need some sort of spark to get him going, because the Wolves are dominating right now.
Well, it's the double whammy here, isn't it? 38 points is way too many to have given up in less than 14 minutes, and 15 points is not enough to have scored in that period of time. They've got to get both ends of the floor working.
Yeah, and you know, maybe they could do something full court wise to get the game going for them, maybe get a couple of easy baskets. But the one thing is, and you see him in the huddle, he doesn't look happy at all. The one thing is, there is still a long way to go in this game. Still 6:25 left in the first half. So there's a long way to go, so have to cut into the lead a little at a time to try to get back into this game.
Well, Worcester have been involved in some seesaw games here, well, all season, but particularly here. One of their recent defeats against Manchester, they were 7 up with 40 seconds to go and still managed to lose the ball game, so I wouldn't write anything out of the possibilities just yet.
We talked about Kennedy earlier for Worcester. He's been a heck of a player for them this season. 14.7 rebounds per game, and I said he leads the league in minutes per game. 38 out of 40 he plays per game, so a lot of energy from Kennedy for Worcester this year.
Boggs. Street, got away with that because the pass was neither to Ali or Adozie, but Hufferu didn't realize there was nobody behind him, got a hand to it, and ended up deflecting it out of bounds for a Bristol possession. 9 on the shot clock. Boggs trying to back down. Referee says that's all ball, so Worcester can play. Oh, nice spin from Kennedy, just lost it though, gets it back. Trying to find a way around. Oh, he's overcooked that one. Adozie with the rebound. Walker has to be careful on 2 fouls. Ali with the pull-up 3 in transition. Doesn't go. Klassen throws it out in front to Hoffa. Hoffa with the reverse lane. Great play.
Great pass, too, from Klassen. He's a great passer. And Hoffa with a nice finish. in transition.
Boggs. And they will reset the play here. Into a Dozy, and Walk has to leave him alone because he can't give up that foul here after 15 minutes.
Good strong post play there from a Dozy to finish around the basket.
Kennedy, good hands from Ali, but Klassen, well, he did get to the ball, but then he stumbled out of bounds with it, so it'll be a Bristol possession.
Good harassment there from Ali. He does that well. He can get in the passing lanes. And now we see Bristol bringing Cosby into the game. A couple minutes stint early. Maybe he'll have his legs a little bit better now and get them going on the offensive end.
Ali to Vigor now. Street. Cosby. Around the screen, kicks it back, but it's stolen away by Huffer. You won't catch him out on the break.
Huffer with the slam in transition, and he's always been a guy that could jump into the passing lane and create the steal.
And here he comes again with possession of the ball. Nothing going Bristol's way right now. Klassen onto Setti. He didn't look there. He assumed that Setti would be down in the corner, but he'd come back up, and he ended up losing it out of bounds.
Kennedy's the kind of guy that's a playmaker from the post as well. You could see that when he gets the basketball. He's looking not only to possibly score, but also to make a pass to set up one of his teammates.
Street drives in, and they've done that a few times. We'll just check who that came off. Worcester player, so it will be a Bristol ball. They've done that a few times to attack the basket. They've not really converted enough of them.
You got to keep trying. You got to keep trying to get there.
Huffer almost with another steal. Street moves it on to Ali in the corner. Got caught. Cardinal sin. Fouling the jump shooter. He'll go to the line for three.
Yeah, up 42-17. You know, you want to make him make that tough shot and not bail him out and put him on the foul line.
Well, Paul James calls a timeout, 4 minutes to go, and I'm sure he'll say, let's just keep this going. I mean, everything they've done has been effective defensively, tremendous job, giving up only a point a minute. Offensively, everything seems to be firing for them pretty well.
Well, I think, you know, Coach James could look up at the board right now and say 17 points. You're like, stay on it. You know, give them a target here to keep them to a low number. A team coming into the game that was giving up a lot of points, and they're giving up 87 points per game, which is the third worst in the league. And tonight they have a chance to keep this Bristol team to an extremely low number if they keep up the defensive work.
Only Manchester and Cheshire average more points against per game this season than the Wolves. So 17 is, as you say, a tremendous defensive effort from them, and Coach James will be demanding that continues here in the last 4 minutes, because there is another thing where you go in your head, oh, we're up 25, everything's okay, we're going to win this game, and the players can just drop by a percentage point or two, and suddenly that can open the door for Bristol.
Well, these players have played basketball for a long time. The Wolves have been struggling this season. They got to keep it rolling, and they got a chance to keep them down. They can't let up in any way, shape, or form.
Ali is at the line for 3 free throws, having been fouled shooting the three-point shot in the corner. The first one is good.
First year in the league for Ali. Good start to his professional career. 15 points a game, 5 assists. 73% from the free throw line. Definitely a bright start for the Flyers.
Well, he makes all 3 from the line and ticks them up to 20, but they're still being outscored 2-1 here. And they've got a little trap here, and Edozie knocks the ball loose and comes up with it. Street. They did have, poor from Street to turn it over. So you come up with a good defensive steal, and it ends up with a layup the other way.
Yeah, Huffer again jumping in the passing lane. He's 10th in the league in steals, but also finishing at the basket well. Tough break there for the Flyers after playing good pressure defense.
Crosby drives in strong, can't convert. Rebound pulled in by Klassen. Nice dribble behind the back. Setti wants it, moves it on. Navahas in the corner for 3, not quite. And Street with the rebound.
Good unselfishness from Worcester so far tonight.
Ali, a little early in the offense that, but Edozie gets the rebound. We'll have another go at it. He's missed it again. I think Klassen got a little piece of it, and eventually all the attempts from close in, they end up with nothing. Huffer fakes at the 3, drives in. Huffer with the reverse lay-in.
Huffer showing all the game tonight. Nice move as he attacks the basket. And as you see here, the up fake, he's very good at that. He jumps on his side and finishes on the other side.
Vigor. They needed that. Boy, did Bristol need that from three-point land. Hands off to Navahas. Setti on the dribble. Ooh, a little high, but Kennedy was ready for it. And Navahas, great work, sold the foul, and will go to the line for 2.
Navahas been a big factor in the game so far. Both on the glass and scoring.
And Navahas will go to take these 2.
7 points, 5 rebounds per game for Navahas. 74% free throw shooter. 22 minutes a game he's playing. And you would think that Navahas will be happy with the arrival of Walker. Navahas was pretty much their only big. And now the presence of Walker could free him up to play a little bit on the perimeter as well.
Which he's done very effectively tonight with 3 3-pointers already. Boggs, nice pass. Good challenge from Setti in the end, but Vigor was able to finish it off.
Boggs with a good spin. He loves to spin when he attacks the basket, and Vigor with the easy deuce.
Setti drives in to the spin himself. Setti got the foul. He wanted to convert that shot. He's a bit disappointed with himself that it didn't go in, but he will go to the line for 2 free throws.
Yeah, it's a bad foul, I think, there on Boggs. I thought if he kept the hands up, it was going to be a tough fading away shot. The amount of times you see guys bail out players taking tough shots, and you send a guy like Setti to the line, where he hasn't been great from the foul line this year, Setti. You think a guy that shoots the ball that well on the perimeter would be a great foul shooter. Only 64% this season.
Although that'll be ticking up after he goes 2 for 2. 100 seconds here to go in the first half. It's been a tough first half for Bristol, who still can't get the scoreboard operator working, but the Wolves have been free-flowing. Throws the alley-oop a little bit too high. Huffer fakes the 3. And inside to Navahas, can't convert. And Boggs with the rebound. Cosby drives in, kicks it out to Smith. And now Vigor backs down, looking to go to work. Draws the foul off the back of the ring, and it will be 2 free throws. Closing in on half-time here in Worcester. It's already half-time in Glasgow, and in Surrey, in the first leg of the BBL Cup, where Glasgow lead the Scorchers by 3, but that a 2-legged affair, so aggregate score will come into play, and I would imagine any sort of lead for Glasgow would be great going back home. Surrey will want to try and get, if they can, 5 or 6 points in front of that one.
Yeah, when you play those first-legged games on the road, you know, you want to keep it close, and any lead is great going back home, especially for Glasgow, who've been a tough team this year. It's a tough place to go up and play. A long trip for mostly everybody in this league. So if they can come out of there on top tonight, they'll feel really comfortable about progressing to the final.
Well, there's a minute and some change here to go in the first quarter, and Worcester outscoring Bristol 50 points to 25, 2-1 here. And I guess coming out of this timeout, if you're Bristol, you just want to try and find something, some little spark to give you some momentum going into the locker room.
Yeah, they sure need it, Dan. You know, a couple free throws here. You can get it under 20, I guess. You can look at it and say, okay. But nothing has worked for them tonight. And listening to Coach Kapoulis, he talked about how important the month of December was for him and how they needed to make a move up the table. But not a good start in December so far for them with this performance in the first half.
And they play Worcester again in a few weeks as well. That's one of their games, and they would have looked at it and thought, well, we need to maybe split one of the games with Worcester if they can't get them both. And it's going to need a lot of work from here as Leslie Smith commits the foul, and it'll be an and one here for the Wolves. Jacobs with the lay-in, and he will go to the line for the bonus. Well, Jacobs can't convert the three-point play. He's not usually in the game at this stage. That shows you how far ahead that they are. He's only played 26 minutes this season, and he's already in the action here in the first half as Smith can't convert. Rebound sets it.
Wide open look there for Smith. They didn't even challenge that jump shot, but nothing, and I mean nothing, going down for the Flyers.
Kennedy, tough shot on the turnaround, got caught by Cosby, and well, I don't think we need to say anything. I think that picture tells you it all right there.
And that's another tough call there on Cosby. Turnaround fadeaway jump shots. You don't want to foul that fadeaway jump shot and send Kennedy to the line.
Kennedy makes the first of 2 free throws. There's 19.4 seconds left on the clock, so the shot clock is switched off, and Bristol will have the opportunity for the final score, but a bit of full court pressure, a little 2-1-2 zone press. And they drop back into what looks to be a zone defense. They're going to flatten it out. Here's Boggs. Boggs drives in, attacks, tries to throw it down two-handed. Kennedy doesn't get it off in time, but what a summation of a half, really, for Bristol. Even the two-handed throwdown doesn't go in.
Nothing going down for Bristol, and everything going down for the Wolves. Great first half from the Wolves on both ends of the floor. Let's see what Bristol has coming out of the timeout, the first play. Maybe give them some confidence to have a better second half.
Well, I think for them now, it's about performance, and hopefully the performance will turn the scoreline around. Just to ask some questions of Worcester and try and get some points on the board, not think about winning just at this stage, because as you say, it's an awfully long way back. That's a tough shot that rattles out at the start here of the third quarter, and Klassen brings it the other way.
Nice.
Kennedy loses his headband and picks it up, and we're just underway here in the second half. They're a few minutes ahead of us in Surrey, and Glasgow now opening up a 10-point lead, 64-74, and not too many teams come back from double-digit deficits in the first leg, so Surrey have some work to do to pull that one back in ahead of the second leg on Sunday. Vigor inside, off the glass is short. Setti with the rebound.
And that's what you see Walker does. He just big body over there, tough to finish over him. You expect the Wolves defense to get better with him in the lineup.
Well, he did well, having picked up those 2 fouls in the first 4 minutes of the game, to come into the second half here with 4 fouls. Kennedy, I think he drew some iron, but not much of it. Ali. Boggs kicks it back out. Boggs fires up for 3. Kennedy goes up high, and Huffer fighting for that rebound. Well, we were saying Bristol needs something here to start, and we haven't seen it in the opening 90 seconds. Yet to score. This was their problem in the first half as well, where they didn't score for the first few minutes. A little high class and pulled it in, but ended up stepping out of bounds.
And Coach Kapoulis clapping his hands, yelling, good job on the defensive end. Bristol need to open the game up a little bit, open the floor up. It seems a little congested on this side of the floor for him.
Ali around the screen, fires up for 3, doesn't go.
Those were going in last week.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying, you must be sitting here wondering,
Wow.
now what happened to the team we played last week? They made some tough shots, Bristol, against Leicester, and but for some unbelievable defense in the last few minutes, as we see the Wolves fans more than happy with life. Leicester I think he kept Bristol to 1 field goal attempt in 3 minutes. He was turning the ball over and all sorts. Came from 9 down in the 4th quarter to win by 14. Thrown out Dozy, showing some good foot speed. Unfortunately, he's okay. You always worry when they slip like that, but he's okay.
Now, I'll tell you what, Clausen is a strong little guy, you know, but there's one guy in this league that you don't want to bump into, and that's Daniel Adozi. He's got muscles on top of muscles.
Hop around the screen. They go the other way. Setti fakes the 3, and that's the thing.
Nice.
Great play, and eventually Vigor commits the foul. But that's the thing with Setti is you've got to respect that shot. You've got to dive out at it. Then when he's smart enough to go around you, it's suddenly 2-on-1.
And now he has the big fella to dish it to. The only thing you can do with him is foul him in that situation, because if he didn't foul him, he would have finished at the basket. Grabbed his finger after that. Be careful, those big guys around the rim struggle sometimes. Maybe it's affected the free throw from Walker. Canadian, this Wolves team, Clausen's Canadian, Walker Canadian, Kennedy Canadian, Kahn Canadian. A lot of Canadians on this Wolves roster.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a more Canadian team in the league. You see a few of them now and then. As Street tries to find a way through, but can't, and Setti pulls in the rebound.
They all came to the game with shorts on. This is balmy weather for those Canadians out there.
It's Clausen drives down the lane for another 2. Street out to Adozi, given that shot, knocks it down, and Walker realized a bit too late that he can shoot that shot.
Well, his first attempt was way off that Walker saw, so laid off him that time. Nice play from Street to set that up.
Here's Walker. He'll try and reply with a jump shot of his own. There's Kennedy trying to keep it alive, but Vigor is close to it. Dozy. Now he's going to try and take the big fella on the run for 2, and the foul is called. It's going to be the 3rd, I think, on Walker, and he'll go to the line for a bonus.
Tough call there on Walker. As you see, looking at him now, he's a little stunned on that one. But Adozi wanted the ball. He called for the ball. Give me the ball. Nice move. Hits the jump shot, and then takes it strong to the basket.
Kennedy pulls in the rebound. Now Dozy was trying to fire them up defensively on the last play as well. Just trying to spark some life into his team. And it's still being outscored 2-1. And that's never a good thing in the second half. Here comes Ali. 4-on-2 here. Street to Ali. 4-on-2, and they don't get anything. They have to go into a set offense. Ali will fire up for 3. Well,
why
they get
not?
3 in the end.
Why not? And you know, you talk about that, you see that a lot in basketball now. When teams have the numbers, everybody flares out to the three-point line, but Ali, we talked about him hitting the shot off the dribble. He can do that as good as anyone in the league.
Huffer to reply, his 3 doesn't go. Ali with the rebound, now looking to drive.
Sorry, Dan, Coach James called timeout, looking for a timeout if they score here. Upset with the start.
He's classy. This is the, no, Paul James said, no, I don't want it. It was one of them, as you say, he thought they were going to score at the other end for the timeout, and the table blew the horn as if to give the timeout, but before he signaled, he waved it off. Classen shot takes most of the ring, but doesn't go.
70% free throw shooter for Classen.
A little shake of the head on from him as he felt he should have made both. Figure and Street are going to sit down. Smith and Cosby come in. Tough introduction to the league, isn't it, for Cosby? Oh, and he's throwing it straight away. Classen drives in. What a block from Adozie. Walker from behind the arc for 3. Ali with the rebound. As it knocked away by Kennedy, and it will be a Bristol possession.
Nice block from Adozie there. Watch you see him pin it on the backboard. And keep it in play.
Adozie is in the top 10. He's 8th in the league in block shots, and here he is at the other end, not quite enough legs, and he ends up throwing it off the front of the ring. Walker off the glass.
And that pretty much sums up Bristol's night. The missed dunk on that end, and then Walker with the tough finish on the other end. Nice move from Walker. For a big guy, he certainly has some moves.
Ali, tough shot. And those are the ones he makes. Setti trying to go baseline, gets past his man, goes up strong through contact, looks for a whistle that doesn't come his way. Ali will pull up for 3 in transition and knock it down.
Hamid Ali says, wait a second, we still got a chance.
Here's another look, and it's one of those where, well, you have to make it because the way things are going. Well, they've made a couple of 3-pointers there, but they've been struggling from the 3-point line tonight and indeed this season. And before the game, I spoke to Greg Street to talk to him about those 3-point struggles. Well, they still have some ways to go to turn it around from the 3-point line. Bristol shooting just 26% after that last make. That's not good enough. They're going to have to find some way of, if they're going to take that many shots, they've got to make some more of them.
Well, 27% on the season, and we talked about it at the beginning, last in the league. You know, again, it'll be tough to get a read on Cosby tonight. Just got here. Once he gets, you know, accustomed to the UK, to the Flyers, I think that he'll help out tremendously there. And this backcourt combination of Ali and Cosby, you know, I like to see them get some extended minutes here tonight. It's an opportunity to get them comfortable with each other because potentially they could be a lethal combination.
Well, They both like a headband. Red and white. Team colours, good to see. Here's Klassen. Change the defense up a little bit here, Bristol out of that timeout. Walker just backs his man down too strong. Can't convert. Give him a second chance though, and he will put it in for two.
Strong and long. Walker finishing at the basket.
There's Boggs long too, and I think that's having seen Ali make one on the previous play.
Coach Kapoulis went right for the bench to get Street up after that shot. He didn't like the Boggs attempt. Quick in transition.
Here's Walker going to work on the spin. That was a decent effort from Smith to make it difficult for him. Here's Ali. Ali out to Cosby in the corner for three. Doesn't go. Cosby still looking for his first points in the BBL. Klassen drives baseline, kicks it back out to Backman. Now Khan dashing down the lane, no help, easy laying.
We talked about Kennedy being able to play make from the post, and that time, nice pass to a wide open Khan for two.
Well, you can see the Bristol Flyers there have made the trip up the M5 who, well, this wasn't what they expected, especially I'm sure they would have been boosted, those away fans, by the performance they saw last week. New face coming in, they would have come with some confidence, and this really hasn't been what they expected, and you know, that's just not enough defense.
Roll out the red carpet for him there, and Coach Kapoulis, as angry as I've seen him tonight after that one. And one thing about losing, but when you give up easy layups like that, it'll drive you nuts.
I mean, it must be hot. Here's a question you don't get asked this often. I'm sure you haven't been in this position too many times, 66-38 down, given the record that you've got. But it must have happened at some point where you're in a big hole in a game. How do you keep the guys going? Because they look to you to provide that leadership as a coach.
It's tough. You know, again, it's something that you have to, like, you know, talk to them about. Hey, do you want to be here? You know, I mean, it's that simple. There's plenty of people that want to play. There's plenty of people that would love to be in your position. And go out there and at least show me that you want to be out there. And I think that play right there had Coach Kapoulis hot, because it didn't look like the defensive end, they cared in that possession. And right now, that's what he's looking for from this team. So sometimes you have to be really harsh with them and say, hey, if you don't want to be here, then we can find somebody else. So, you know, I expect after that timeout, they'll come out with a lot of fire.
Go on, mate. Last time you were this far down as a coach, you remember?
You're going to have to tell me that.
I'm guessing we're talking 5-6 years would have been for lead deficit this big?
Not too sure. I'm not too sure about that, but I know there has been times where you have that big deficit.
Yeah.
You got to keep the guys motivated, and you got to light a fire under them.
Oh, here's Navas checking into the game. They're going big here with both he and Walker on the court. Street driving in, out to Vigor. His shot doesn't quite go. Walker pulls in the rebound. Backman spins. And you know what? I think that was one of them where Ali might have got him, and then when Street came in as well, the referee sort of thought it's probably 2 half fouls. I'll call one.
Yeah. Well, usually in these 30-point games, there's not a lot of calls being made.
Yeah.
Looking for that clock to move.
Backman pulls in the rebound. Smith drives down, kicks it to Vigor. Doesn't quite go. Klassen. Rebound, ball round to Walker. Walker backing down. He's so tough because he's so strong and he's a legitimate big man. He's so tough to stop when he gets in that sort of position.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, if you're playing him single coverage, you're going to be in trouble with him. Especially if you let him get to that right hand. He looks like if he gets to that right hand, it's pretty much automatic.
Kahn moves it on. Backman from behind the arc. Knocks it down. Another three for the Worcester Wolves. They've been flying in at regularity. That's their 7th of the game.
And Backman is a guy that can certainly shoot the three. 42% this year. He's averaging 14 points a game for the Wolves.
Street gets well into the head fake. Gives it down to Smith, who loses it. Owen now. And another one, finally, for Bristol as the three goes in at the other end.
Smith was 3 for 26 from the three-point line coming into the game. So that had to feel good for him to go down.
Walker knocks it down. Well, that's, I mean, one of the things is if you're taking that many threes, you would expect to make some more of them. I mean, you sometimes see the slightly bigger guys with a lower three-point percentage, but they don't take that many. 26 is quite a few across the 11 games that they've played.
Nice job from Crosby in transition, attacking the basket. On the other end, you talk about Walker's ability to finish around the basket. Well, that time, Clausen did a great job of driving and kicking, and Walker showed a nice little touch from 15 feet as he knocked down the jump shot.
Well, Aaron Crosby still looking for his first points in a Bristol Flyers shirt there. So it's 7 from the floor, and finally it comes from the free throw line. This has been a tough introduction to him. I mean, his team were in a big hole before he even got on the court. Clausen fires up over Vigor, tough shot over the bigger man. His own with Vigor ahead of him. Goes a little high, and did he get it off in time? I don't think he did, as the game clock ran out at the end of the third quarter, and that basket will not count. Didn't quite get it off in time. And well, we said coming out of the half that Bristol needed something to get going, to try and fire things up, but actually they've lost the third quarter the same as they lost the first.
Yeah, not really much happening for them. Worcester still playing well, and I think if you're a Worcester Wolf fan, you have to be pretty excited about Walker. I think that you know, you see players coming to teams and you see the impact they can make. When you have a 6'10" guy like that comes in, can score, can rebound, he certainly could turn things around for them. You look for them to make a push up the league table the second half of the year.
I think you mentioned it at the top of the show. I think a lot of people were looking at Worcester and thinking, here's a team that's been regular in the top 4 over the last few years, and that actually maybe they might be having a run at that again this year, but it hasn't happened for them. They've had some injuries and some changes. And Coach Kapoulas, let's see if we can hear what he's trying to say to his team.
Get stops together. Make sure we execute on the offensive end together as well. There is 5 minutes right now. We're going to be control, kind of getting the best of it. Let's go.
Well, it's about going out and playing hard now here for the last 10 minutes. I mean, there's a few things you just wanted. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but you want to get a number on the board that doesn't look too bad when people are looking on the website later and you see, you know, if you're in the 50s, it doesn't look great.
No, and I think that if you're Bristol now, this game's got to be about Crosby a little bit. I think that, you know, you have a new player. You want to get him going. You want to get him some confidence going into the next game. Had a tough start so far. Maybe this fourth quarter he can get something going.
Kahn driving down the lane, and there's a reach-in foul. Oh, he almost took the referee out.
Didn't even flinch after taking that hit.
Clausen inbounds to Walker, who's looking to hand off. Instead he goes cross-court to Kahn. Kahn drives down, Walker. Backman now, Backman fires up. Overcooks that one, Vigor with the rebound. Crosby Driving down the lane through traffic there for 2.
Nice move there. You know, Cosby looks like he has the ability to get to the basket as well as shoot the 3. That had to feel pretty good for him there.
First field goal for him. Backman. Klassen now with the shot clock ticking down low, throws it up high over Smith. Ball bounces out to Owen. Owen forward. Cosby now from behind the arc. Doesn't hit anything. And Smith got a foul on it, block on it, but Cosby got called for the foul first of all. So it'll be 2 free throws.
The other thing about Walker, and you watch the Wolves offense, is he's such a big body on with screens as well. So with these guys not only coming off screens looking to shoot, but penetrating coming off those screens could open up the offense that way. Anybody that's played basketball against a guy that size, especially a guard covering your man, and he comes over to set a screen, it's going to be tough for them to get around him. So not only will he benefit their offense on the interior, but he could also benefit their offense outside as well, with Klassen, you know, and Kahn running the pick and roll.
Navahas from the free throw line makes both of them. He's got 15 points. Huge contribution off the bench in just as many minutes. Owen in the corner. The fire up to 3 doesn't quite go. Rebound pulled down by Yanni Huffer. Is Backman. Backman driving, stumbling, gets the shot off. Body's on the floor. It's out of bounds. And it'll be a Flyers ball. Again, a little 2-2-1 zone press. This is much to disrupt everything. They've got to get over the halfway line. Don't get it over. You only get 8 seconds to cross the halfway line from when you inbound the ball. And they didn't look in enough of a hurry to get it across.
And Wolves have done that a lot tonight. And it was not so much to get a steal or create a turnover, but to slow them down and not allow them to run their stuff. A nice job from Worcester, mixing up the defenses.
Well, that was very much a turnover rather than anything the defense had done. Good pass. Oh, but what a block from Smith as Walker went to the hole.
That's a play that Coach James has been running for years, and that time was executed well, but big block stopped the 2.
Street off the mark. Driving to the basket, that will count. Foul is called as Kahn will go to the line for the bonus.
Well, Kahn's had a good game tonight. Hasn't had a super productive year, but he's a guy that can play with speed, can get to the basket. And if you allow him to get in the paint, can wreak havoc on the defense.
Austin Kahn will go to the line for 1. Vigor, by the way, picking up his 4th personal foul, and he will sit down. Into the game for the first time comes Andy Hamilton. Here they go again, trying to get it over the halfway line. They do in time. And Smith drives in. Adozie with the follow, lays it in. The Kahn will bring it forward for the Wolves. Moves it on to Backman. Here's Hopper. Walker backing down, has it knocked loose. And the foul is called on Navahas. Well, it's very calm on the Worcester bench, and well, it might be, because this one is virtually in the books with 7 minutes to go. And of course, not only will it be in the books for today, it will be in the books for all of history, as Paul James set to become only the 2nd man to reach 500 as Walker jams it down for 2.
Nice job again by Khan. We've talked about how effective he's been at penetrating. And last time he scored, but this time he dumps it off to Walker and he puts it down hard.
Just to give you some context on that for James Lamont, obviously Fab Lanoy has just got to 500 a few weeks ago. PJ is there. Next in the list, Kevin Cadle with 397, so more than 100 behind. And then I think you're fifth, Rob, with 254, is it? I think it is. And it's been very comfortable here for the Wolves in what will be win number 500, sorry. And it's very tight down in Surrey. It's a 5-point game with a minute to go in that one. Glasgow with the lead on the road, though, so the second leg to come at home. They will like their chances with any sort of lead, I should imagine, going back home. Here's Smith. Smith from behind the arc. Oh, he ought to get a point for that. It was so far down.
Another drive, while you were talking about the score down in Surrey, another drive to the basket from Khan and a nice finish. Excellent game for him tonight.
Khan. Here's Walker up on the three-point line. Huffer. Huffer with the step back. Tough shot. Doesn't go. Ali. Hamilton. He might have got away with the step there. Here's Khan. Thought about the pull-up. Moves it to Backman instead. They're in no rush here, Worcester. Time can't go, I would imagine, same true for Bristol, time can't go quick enough to get this one out of the way. Here comes Ali. Ali drives in, he's got no help and he's fouled by Navas. Good use of the body to get the ball away from the defensive player.
Nice job in transition, a tough transition player, Ali. Expected him to shoot that pull-up a lot of times, but there he went by him. And gets a trip to the foul line.
Chris Bourne will check into the game for the first time. Kennedy coming back. Interesting that Coach Kapoulis has gone with two guys who don't get a great deal of minutes here, with still 5 minutes to go. Hamilton and Bourne into the game. (82-48) in favor of Worcester, who've led from start to, well, I say this point, but it will likely be the finish as well, as we've got 5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Huffer driving baseline. Khan, good ball movement, finds Walker. Will that drop? Yes, it will, just not enough.
It's been his night, Walker. And that time looked short, but the soft touch gets the roll.
And Ali, we've seen exactly what we expected from Big Mo Walker, haven't we? I mean, it's one of those things where the scout report before the game says he likes to get in and around the basket, low post moves, cuts to the basket, offensive rebounds, and Bristol defensively have struggled against that this season. And we've seen them struggle again here tonight against him.
Yeah, he's going to be a tough cover for a lot of teams in this league. And now when you play Worcester, you certainly have to figure out what you're going to do with him. He is a guy that the load down there, no question about it. And you know, what I've liked with him tonight is he doesn't seem to be in too much of a rush either. Seems to have a nice composure about him, nice soft touch as well. And even that free throw stroke looks pretty good for him. A lot of times with these dominant big guys, they say follow him around the basket. But this guy certainly looks like he could be one of the better players in the league as we head to the second half of the season.
Oh yeah, say that free throw trip is anything to go by.
78% so far, and the other stat on the foul line for him is he's getting to the line 8 times per game.
That's a lot. Is Ali to Vigor, and he hits from behind the arc.
Nice pass from Ali, a wide open Vigor who can shoot the ball from the perimeter. Gets him into the 50s.
Again, you sort of, you know, psychologically, being in the 60s is low, but you'd rather that than the 50s if they can find another 10 points. Here's Kennedy, out to Huffer, challenge, got the shot off just in time as the buzzer sounds. It was out of his hands. Ali with the pull-up on the transition. This tips, no, Con keeps it in, does he? No, not quite. Looked like it was going to be out of bounds. He reached over, but his toe was on the line. And Maurice Walker will sit down. Tremendous performance for him. Remember, he got in foul trouble early on. We were wondering, could he be effective? And he, in 26 minutes, has 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and been a general nuisance inside. Three minutes to go. Cohen ambling over the halfway line. Kennedy. Cohen trying to find a way through. Kicks it out to Huffer. Huffer has it knocked away in his... oh, well, he nearly hit that from inside his own half there. Huffer with the bump. And the foul is called.
Well, we talked about Kennedy playing 38 minutes a game, up over, 30 points here, and he's still in the game. I wonder if he'll come out now.
Well, he's going to be down on his average, even if he doesn't come out. As Backman sits down. And he's checked in for the first time.
Wolves with 3 starters still on the floor.
Owen. Vigor. Bourne now. Long 2 doesn't go. Klassen with the rebound. Well, I don't think they're going to have 3 starters on the court for long as Jacobs makes his way to the subs bench. Setti steps into one. He probably overstepped, actually, because he had a bit too much juice on that shot. Lob towards Vigor. Vigor underneath. Forced back out. Dozy's shot doesn't go. Here's Dozy driving to the basket. Good stand from Setti. Referee's going to talk this one over. The initial decision was a Wolves ball, and they're going to stick with that. Here we go. Kennedy sits down. 8 points, 6 rebounds to his name in his 28 minutes. Interestingly, I know the plus minus is a funny old stat, but he's plus 24, which means his team are up 24 in the minutes that he's been on court, which is the most of his team. Klassen drives in off the glass, just had enough.
Nice soft touch from Klassen, a little floater. All guards have to have that floater, and Klassen makes a nice play.
Tipped out of bounds, and it will be an end-line ball. And a couple of minutes left, and the MVP of this game has been Big Mo Walker with 21 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. And as I say, he got in foul trouble a little early on, but it didn't hamper him at all. He had a few minutes on the bench, came back in, played great.
Well, PJ brought him back in with the 2 fouls, trusted him on that. And yeah, I mean, he's been as good as advertised. The thing you see when you walk in here tonight is how big he is. I mean, on film he looks big, but he's a big boy. But he has really good post ability, not only to make the moves around the basket, but also to kick the ball out. I saw that tonight, and make the 15-foot jump shot.
Klassen around the high screen, stolen away by Vigor. He's not hurt himself as he's gone down hard, and it's one of them where you can't injure a knee or an ankle. He looks in a bit of pain.
Oh. Anytime you see another player go low for the legs like that, you get worried. Klassen lost the ball and then dove in. You never want to see an injury, but certainly with 1:30 to go in a game that's decided, he's on his feet. Hopefully he's okay.
Well, I think they're going to take him out anyway, just as a precaution. He's going to hobble out. I think he'll be okay. Let's have another look. You see what happens is the ball goes loose on the floor. He picks it up and then Klassen trips him up.
Wow, scissors. The scissors move.
Might be a yellow card there for a high foot. Ali. In the corner is Owen for 3. Here's Setti. Looking for some help. He's thrown it a bit high. Khan just had enough on it. Inside the final minute of what has been a very comfortable night. Speaking to some Worcester people at halftime, said the first 20 minutes was as good a half of basketball as they've seen from their team. And really that was where the damage was done as far as Bristol were concerned. Dominant play from the Wolves.
Nah, no question about it. They jumped on him early and never let him even think about getting back in the game. And they haven't had a win at home for a while, and this will feel good when they go home tonight.
Well, the shot clock is switched off. Will Bristol go for one last score, or will they just dribble it out? I think they're just going to dribble it out, get this one done and in the books. And it's been a tremendous day for the, oh no, Ali is going to shoot a 3. Tremendous day for those home Worcester Wolves fans. As you say, it's been a while since they've got a victory, but they have got a victory here, and it's been a landmark victory as Paul James becomes only the 2nd coach in BBL history to win 500 games in his coaching career. A tremendous landmark, Rob.
Amazing, and to do it tonight in such a convincing fashion. Coach James, been around a long time. He's had some great teams, and just an incredible number 500.
And he'll be delighted as anything, not just for the landmark, but the manner of the performance, the statement it sends out, the way his team played.
No question about it. I thought defensively they were excellent tonight. I thought they mixed the defenses up well, and I think they're a team now with Walker that's certainly going to be a tough game every single night.
Well, that will be the thing. There'll be quite a number of people watching who won't have seen Mo Walker before. It's the first time we've seen him live in the flesh, and as you said earlier, he is as advertised. He's going to be a really tough player for anybody to go up against this Wolves team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think what it'll do is it'll also help the guys on the perimeter, because now you're going to see team have to pay a lot of attention to him on inside, and it should open it up for Hoffer, for Setti, for Klassen on the perimeter to get some good looks.
Well, Nick on the sideline has our MVP.